Ladies and gentlemen, today our guest is Bear Tek, who also goes by Ken. How are you doing, Bear Tek?
I'm very well, thank you for asking. How about you?
Good, thank you. So, tell us a little about your background, Bear.
So, I started streaming back in 2018, I think it was, as a way to sort of just de-stress and relax because I actually work as a medical doctor, and that was full time until the start of this year, and I'm taking a little bit of a break from that. Um, and since then, I've always really enjoyed streaming, and lately. I've been playing a bit of Genshin Impact as well as some other games. But it's just a really fun way to interact with people and, take your mind off things that are otherwise kind of stressful, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. And while you were streaming in 2018, you were also working as a doctor. Like you were trying to balance it, or did you have a set schedule on where you would work and then you would stream?
Back then, it was really hard to balance it. And I think I actually ended up taking a break from streaming for a couple of years because it was just so difficult to balance it. Then I had an irregular schedule. I was working a lot of shift work, working different shifts every week. And then I was also trying to stream. Essentially, it was the equivalent of full time, I think, on top of that. And I just remember there was one particular 24-hour period where I worked for 10 hours. I came home and then I streamed for 10 hours. And I think after that point, I sort of thought to myself, this isn't sustainable, even if I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, wow, that sounds like a very hard work week or just a work ethic. So, did you stop streaming to become like a full-time doctor and then stop being a doctor to stream now, or
So it's been a bit back and forth. I think it's taken me probably about 3 years to come up with a good sort of balance. And even then, it's kind of hard. Essentially, at that time, I was already working full time and had been for a couple of years. And originally, streaming had just started out as like a fun hobby that I could just do on the side. And then, as I saw some success with the game Maple Story 2, and that was actually when I got partnered on Twitch, I started
oh,
to take it a bit more seriously. Yeah. And that was when it started to encroach a little bit on other aspects of my life because I'd spent so much time doing it. And so when I took that break, that was me going, okay, that's too much. I need to put the brakes on the whole streaming thing. And there are a lot of other things that were happening at the same time in my life. I got married in that time, and I don't know how to describe it in sort of just a layperson term, but I got essentially a big promotion that increased my responsibilities at work.
I see. So, streaming was kind of becoming your second job after becoming like a hobby.
Yeah, basically. And I guess at the time I wasn't ready for what I would consider that level of success that quickly.
Hmm.
And I hadn't worked out how to balance it. Whereas I think you'd find that a lot of partnered streamers, people who've been growing steadily over a longer period of time, or maybe people who are more mature than I was then for sure, would have found a way to balance it and to make it sustainable, but it just wasn't for me at the time.
Yeah, and well, most partner streamers I know of aren't also doctors. That's incredible. When Mike referred me to
Thank you.
you, I was like, wow, he's a doctor too. That's incredible. So, what
Thank
kind of
you. That's very
yeah,
nice of you to say.
no problem. And so what got you into streaming? Was it kind of just like a fun hobby you wanted to try out?
That was essentially it. I remember back when I first started, I used to watch a lot of streams, and I think that was around the time that Overwatch came out. I was really into Overwatch. I loved that game so much. And I
Yeah,
watched
same.
a lot of Overwatch streams, a lot of those streams, and I thought, oh, you know what? Since I play Overwatch and I'd like to find like-minded people, and if I earned a little bit of pocket money on the side, I wouldn't say no. And essentially that was how I got into streaming. And I found that I enjoyed the social aspect of it, or interacting with people, a lot more than I'd originally thought.
Mhm.
And that's sort of why I kept streaming. even when I sort of lost interest in Overwatch.
Wow, so you started streaming Overwatch first, and then you moved over to other games such as MapleStory and Genshin?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And it was only really when I started playing MapleStory with the social aspect of that game, plus the interaction that you had as the streamer with all your viewers, that I really started to see how much I enjoyed it. And I thought that was really, really cool.
And what is the main game you stream right now? Is it Genshin?
Uh, Definitely for a while it was Genshin Impact, but I've tried to branch out a little bit more. I guess Genshin Impact was the game that got me back into streaming. It came at a good time as well because I'm taking a little bit of time off work, so it was more incidental than planned. But I would like to think I'm a variety streamer. I'm playing about 4 or 5 different games at the moment.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, just because I just enjoy a bit of change every now and then rather than playing the whole same game all the time because Genshin Impact right now, I guess, is getting a little bit stale for a lot of people.
Uh, is it kind of like not that many updates are being pushed out or new content is added?
I guess the difficulty, if I can answer it in a sort of roundabout way, with Genshin Impact as a game for people who like playing games, is that the content in the game is good quality content, but the problem is that it comes out probably a little bit too slowly for people's liking. And that means that the players who really like to min-max or are quite hardcore or just really love playing the game for long periods of time don't really have enough content in the game to keep them entertained. And so they have to start looking for other ways to entertain themselves, whether that's in the game or, unfortunately, in a different game,
Yeah.
if I can answer it that way.
So as you said, how you enjoyed streaming. What's one of your most fun thing about streaming?
I think the thing that I personally enjoy the most is uh, the sense of community and when everybody is sort of on the same wavelength. And I think that comes through when, chat's spamming the same thing or whether they're spamming a copy pasta or whether this is going to sound kind of weird, they're flaming me and I get to flame them back. I just love that. I just think that's so fun. And I know that's not everyone's cup of tea, but I really enjoy that.
Oh, so you enjoy building a community where you could talk and chat along your watchers and viewers?
Yeah, I think so. I think I was always surprised by how important having a connection or some sort of relationship to the viewers was. I never going into streaming thought, and this sounds dumb now that I look back at it, I never thought that that was going to be the thing at the forefront, but it has to be. Otherwise, why would anybody watch somebody who streams?
Exactly. Yeah. And when you stream, do your viewers get a say in what game you play?
Say again, sorry.
When you stream, do your viewers get a say in what game you want to play or you get to play?
Uh, hmm. Yes, but also sort of no. And the best way for me to describe that is if there's a game that viewers are really excited about, I'll look into it. And if it's lots of them, then I'm even more likely to look into it. Because, especially for the long time viewers, they know what sorts of games that I like and they know what they could recommend to me that I, take their recommendation seriously. And I think that's a good way for them to sort of bring games to my attention, for them to influence like the community or sort of the path of the stream.
Hmm.
But in terms of like polls and stuff, generally I find it easier for me to just pick a game. We go, yep, we're playing this game this week. This was suggested by this person. And that way I think it's easier for me to stay focused and for everyone else to have a good time if I'm focused rather than going, oh, I have literally no idea what I'm doing in this game.
And going back to the games you enjoy, What are some game like what kind of games do you enjoy? Like FPS, adventure, simulators?
Yeah, right. I would say that in the past, I really, really enjoyed shooting games. My favorite shooting game of all time would have to be Battlefield 3, maybe Battlefield 4. And I guess part of that was because I was pretty good at it. And pretty good, I mean, like I was ranked top 10 skill in Australia at one point for Battlefield.
Oh wow, that's incredible.
But I think since sort of I lost interest in Overwatch, I've looked towards other types of games that are a bit more chill. And as I guess it was during that break period where I didn't really stream that I started looking to other chiller games where I could just come home and relax after work. And that sort of continued as I've started picking up streaming again. So Genshin Impact's been really fun. Lately, I've been playing The Witcher 3, and probably one of the crowd favorites when I stream it is probably XCOM 2, just because I think it's really cool to get the viewers involved and name the characters in the game after them. And it's really cool because I guess they get really invested in their character and seeing their character grow, and then if their character dies, they get a sense of sadness, I suppose, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, because they're watching me play a game through the internet.
It kind of brings your whole community like together.
Yeah, and I think that's something I definitely undervalued in the past, but I really, really do enjoy it now.
And going back to what you said about Overwatch, that's kind of like the Overwatch curse. I used to grind Overwatch and I got sick of it because they're introducing broken characters into the game. They weren't changing anything, and I just started playing Stardew Valley. I don't know if you heard about it.
Yep, yep, yep.
And um,
I think that's pretty common sentiment. I think it was for a lot of people who really liked Overwatch, they stuck around even through some of the, I guess, questionable changes. And then, if you know the GOATS meta, that was when I stopped playing, and they didn't change anything significant about the game for probably a year, I think it was. That was what killed it for me.
the road queue,
Say again, sorry.
they had to change. They had to add the road queue to prevent goats meta.
Yeah, I'd quit well before that became a thing. I wish they'd implemented it earlier, to be honest.
Yep, same here. How about what are some hobbies outside of streaming, like during your off time?
Yeah, playing video games, that's an easy one. It sounds crazy to say, but when you stream a game, when you're streaming, it doesn't quite feel exactly the same as if you're just hanging out in, a Discord call with some of your mates playing a different game. There's a slightly different tone to it. It's not that you enjoy it any less when you're streaming, it's a different kind of enjoyment. But you always do feel like you're sort of always on, if that makes sense. You're live. You know you're live. And there's a difference in the way you approach it, whereas I could have a deadpan face on. I could type LOL in all caps, and literally all that happens is I exhale through my nose, that sort of thing.
Yeah, how it's like when you're streaming, you constantly have to entertain your viewers and act accordingly to their, to their likes and wants, and playing offline.
Yeah, in a way, in a way. It's I guess it's not so much necessarily responding to the every like give and take from the viewers. It's kind of you have to exaggerate yourself a little bit. You're
Mm-hmm.
still you, but you're you that's in my case a little bit more outgoing and curses less because normally I probably would say I curse probably every 3 words, but that sort of thing. It's just you but altered in slightly different ways.
And going forward, what are your future aspirations for streaming?
Uh, given that I took a big break and sort of I came back after streaming and I was literally a two viewer Andy for the longest time. Um, I suppose my number one aspiration is to keep growing the community around the stream, to get to know other streamers, but also, other people around the world, who can come and enjoy the stream. Because I think I've started to focus more on that, making a welcoming and even wholesome community sometimes. Um, But I guess I can't say I'm aiming to get partnered because that happened a long time ago, but I'd like to get to that sort of stage again and then sort of progress beyond that, hopefully.
I see. So you would like to build your community a little more and become a more notable streamer?
Yeah, in summary, yeah, I think so. I'd also like to do more collaborative stuff, but I think as a smaller streamer, that's that's hard to do, to be honest, because you don't sort of have a built-up brand already.
I checked your stream, and I think a couple days ago, I saw you averaging about 40, 50 viewers. That's very impressive still.
Thank you, thank you. I like to think it's a work in progress, but I guess at the end of the day, to me, the most important viewers aren't the ones that I don't have. The most important viewers to me are the ones who are there in my stream, chatting or lurking because they're there because they enjoy whatever I can give them. To them, it's of some value. And those are the viewers that I like to focus on the most, even though I want the community to grow.
So, to those viewers that are always at your stream daily, do you have any tips to them if they want to start streaming like you?
Yeah, sure. Tips would be, okay. The number one thing that I would say that I wish somebody had told me when I started streaming is you need to know why you want to stream. If you don't know why you want to stream, you'll lose sight of it and you'll lose track. Uh, Number two would be consistent. I know that one is very commonly told by other streamers. And number three would be sort of related to number one. You got to know why you want to stream, but you also have to still be you. And you can't try to be somebody else. It won't work. People can tell because you'll either not be having fun, people can tell, or you'll be putting on an act. And unless it's deliberately an act and people are there for the act, they'll be able to tell it's not you.
So these
I think those are
tips,
probably.
they kind of show more about yourself, about like how you're always so genuine from
I try to be.
yeah. Yeah, that's one
I
quality
think
I
this.
want to see in a streamer because I want to see that they genuinely are nice or kind, wholesome.
Yeah, I think it's important to be genuine because people can tell if it's fake. Again, unless you're putting on a deliberate act like, I don't know, Dr. Disrespect or something like that.
Well,
It just you sort of get caught halfway in between
yep, yep.
otherwise.
Well, I just want to say that concludes our interview, and I want to thank you so much for taking your time to participate in this.
No worries, Ethan. Thank you for reaching out. I really appreciate the opportunity as well.
Yep,
I
sounds
saw
good.
your uh I saw your YouTube video, your last one,
On
and
yep,
first one, incidentally, wasn't it? I thought that
yep,
was actually really good, Ethan.
yeah. Just trying to start this up and trying to get any content creators I could partner up with to interview them. I think
Yeah,
collaboration
yeah.
is very good for growth and just exposure.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. If you don't mind me asking, what are you planning to do in the future? Like, what future plans do you have for your content creation?
I would like to expand my content creation to more than just the Valorant scene. So, such as the Genshin scene or Overwatch, maybe, and just try to create like a media, like a brand for 1Tapped, something
Yeah.
that people can go to and it's like a notable content creation group that and there's like wow you got into 1Tap, that's amazing, something like
Yeah,
exclusive like
that's the
that.
dream, right?
Yep, that's what we're all working for, I guess.
That's awesome. Well, I hope it succeeds and you're happy with it. And the other thing is, Ethan, if you ever want to do anything collaborative in the future and are looking for people, please feel free to reach out to me again, because this
Sounds
was
good.
really fun. It was nice to do something different because I don't think I've done this before.
Yeah, same here. I had a good time doing this, and I will definitely hit you up in the future in case I have a project or something.